Continue to pour in this morning for veteran actress Mary Twala, who passed away in hospital yesterday. She was 80 years old. Twala has featured in a long list of productions spanning across 6 decades in film, television and stage. In 2019, she was the recipient of the Order of Ikhamanga in silver for her contribution to the arts. She passed away on her birthday, on the birthday of her late husband. And for more tributes to the legend, we're joined now via Skype by the legendary Lillian Dube, who is here in Johannesburg. Ma'am Lillian, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now, the list of achievements of Ma'am Mary goes on forever. She has won awards and she really has been held up as a legend in your industry. You've known her since the first time you saw her on stage that inspired you to consider a career in acting, and you've worked with her in television and film productions. But who is the friend, Mary Twala, that you will so dearly miss?
Oh, Mary was such a wonderful human being. Very humble, very generous, and humorous as well. It was fun to be with Mary on set because I've never seen Mary angry. And Mary was so professional. At her age, she was never, ever late. I mean, you know that in showbiz, people start as early as 4 o'clock. Mary would leave her home to be on set in time, and she knew her lines. And she was such fun to be with.
Now she's famously said that she would never retire. In fact, I think she was going to make a big comeback in film just earlier this year, because she said when you're working in your passion, it really isn't a job. Talk to us about how she approached her craft.
Like I have said, she took it very seriously. She learned her lines, which I don't. I learn them as I go. But Mary would know all her lines, only to fluff them on set. And I used to laugh at her and say, what's the point of learning your lines when you're going to forget them? But she really, and she respected even the younger actors that came after her. She never boasted, never once said, I'm a legend, I've been here. Oh, she was only willing to give advice if it was wanted. Otherwise, she just kept in her lane, and she was happy to be who she is. Mary was just Mary.
She was also extremely versatile. I mean, she started out in stage, moved into television and film as well. What was the kind of work that she loved to do the most, though?
Here now, I'm speaking for her.
Yes.
I know that all actors, the work that we love most is stage, but it doesn't pay the bills. So we resort to television. And I must just share with you that when I started Squeezers, it was with Mary in mind, because I used to love the Golden Girls. And I said to myself, when I'm 60, I'm going to produce something like it, which became Squeezers. But the very first person I had in mind was Mary Twala. And she brought such humor, and she was the most loved actress on Squeezers.
Do you think there's enough of that kind of work going around? I mean, too often, if you look at your industry across the world, especially when female actresses reach a certain age, it becomes more difficult to find work that really brings to the fore everything that you still have to offer.
Exactly. That's the reason I started Squeezers. Because in most productions, Mary would be a gogo with a duke and a pin. And I said, what a waste of a beautiful figure. Because Mary had the most beautiful figure. And I thought to myself, you better dress Mary. I told the wardrobe people she must dress smart and be the lady she is. And Mary could sing. And it was such a pleasure to see her not in a duke and a pinafore, because those really used to irritate me. She always played gogo. And I said, this time I want to make it glamorous. You must be the girls.
Now that is we've spoken quite a bit about her life as an actress and how respected she was in that regard. But another role that she took very seriously in her life was as a woman of family and a mother to her son Zumizi. How important was that role to her and her relationship with her family and her son?
And what people don't know, they only know Zumizi. Mary had a daughter who passed on tragically, a freak accident. I never thought she would outlive that. I mean, it was so terrible because here was this young lady who was doing everything with Mary, and she has another one called Joyce who's on a wheelchair, and Mary has been looking after those children and her grandchildren, and that was a role she took very seriously with love, and at the same time still being able to care for people of other children. Like if Mary had of a crisis somewhere, she would take out her own money and assist where it is needed. She was that kind of person. And also, Mary was a very prayerful woman. I remember when my partner was very ill and she prayed with me and said, I am telling you, God will heal him. She was that kind of person. And I've been fortunate in that I used to get invited to bring a friend with. And I remember after she got the order of Ikamanga, I wanted to do something for her. I didn't have money then. But guess what? I was invited on Sipoga's show, Eat with Sipogas, and asked to bring a friend. Who do I bring? Mary. And it was a surprise. She was so happy. And I remember the director saying that, in fact, the producer of that show saying that, Lillian, thank you for having brought Mary, because Sipogazi didn't feel intimidated because Mary didn't take herself seriously. She respected other people. So we had the most wonderful show on Sipogazi's show because it wasn't about egos. It was just being human beings, enjoying being human beings, because Mary was that human being, very humble.
Before I let you go, Mum Lillian, you were able to see Mary not so long ago. She had taken ill already. What was that last interaction with her for you?
I took some brandy to hospital because when I got there, she was down, and I said, my friend, I've got something nice for you, just a medicinal thought. And she started singing, and she was posting that she's now in Hollywood, she's in a hotel. But shame, we had good laughs, and we were preparing to go to, we were talking about going to Somizi's wedding, which I didn't go to because I mixed up the dates. But I'm glad I did, because I couldn't have been happy at Somizi's wedding with Mary on a wheelchair. But even after that, we still spoke over the phone. I can't tell you about that because Peggy Twala will come after me. She needed cigarettes. I called her and she said, my friend, I'm fine. I just want cigarettes. I said, I've got, my friend, send some easy. Yeah, so please, Peggy, mustn't come after me. I finished them, actually.
Well, Mum Lillian, all we can say is it sounds like you were the right kind of friend to have during these times. Thank you so much.
I'm going to miss her. She was genuine. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you so much for sharing those wonderful memories with us. Mum Lillian Dube there, legendary actress in her own right, sharing some stories about her very good friend, the veteran, legendary actress, Mary Twala.